Welcome to Amplifying Wellness with TLC, a place where we discuss your self-care and wellness through our guest stories, information, and tips on how to live healthier and happier lives. We're Twin Life Coaching and Business Services with your host, myself, Barb Schutz, and my business partner and sister, Tara Lehman. We care about increasing awareness around self-care and mental health through this podcast, our coaching, consulting, workshops, and a supportive community. To find out more about all of our services and our communities, please visit www.twinlifecoaching.ca. As a reminder, this podcast is for sharing of stories and information only, so it's not intended to be or replace any medical advice you may be seeking or have received.
So there are many things that can hold us back from achieving what we set out to achieve, or maybe dreams or goals or bucket list items that we have. And some of these are because of our limiting beliefs or thoughts. And most people, you've probably heard of limiting beliefs. So we're going to talk about a few today. So this episode is dedicated to the 3 limiting beliefs or thought patterns that Barb and we hear most often from clients, and it can be in any realm. So we've heard it with life coaching clients, career clients, leadership, and even small business clients. So these same ones tend to come up a lot. So Barb, why don't we start with our first one?
Sure. So as Tara said, a lot of the things that we hear, of course, is a limiting belief that a lot of people have during coaching. And that is the I am not good enough. The I'm not good enough to achieve whatever your goal is.
Mm-hmm.
We hear that a lot. First and foremost, we want everyone to be aware that you are good enough to achieve your goals. You absolutely are. You have to change your mindset, so to speak, from a limiting mindset, or a fixed mindset is the actual term, to one where you're open-minded and
growth-based, right?
Yes, thank you. So always remember, you are good enough. But when you have something that seems unachievable, what you have to do is go, okay, I am good enough to get there at some point. But what do I need to do to get there? So instead of saying you're not good enough, you're saying, but what do I need to do? Or how can I go about getting there? And you break it down to something that is a little bit more achievable. So maybe you have 10 small goals that get you to your large goal, but you will get there. It's a matter of just taking baby steps and taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture and breaking it down. So a lot of people, when they're thinking about not being able to achieve, saving for a house in the next 5 years, that's a huge goal. And of course, that can put a lot of limiting beliefs in people's heads around, we're never going to be able to do that. We've got this to pay and this to pay. But you got to get rid of the I never can and start focusing on the how can I instead. So how can you do that? And break it down. What can you do today? What can you do for the next 6 months? What can you do over the next 5 years? And work towards that goal versus putting your hands up in the air and saying, I can't.
Oh, and I love that. Yeah, I love that you said that, because, that belief of I'm not, we got to change that sentence, right?
Yeah.
It's I am, but you're right. Like you hit it there, is breaking it down is so important. And if you do SMART goals or if you don't want to, that's fine. But the R for us, we've added resources, and that's not usually what the R stands for, but knowing there's resources out there to achieve your goals, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Another really big component.
Yeah, exactly. Let's dive into another one, Tara. What's another one that you hear a lot?
Well, you started to talk about it a little bit actually on the goals, so it was a great segue. Thanks.
Oh, no, bro.
So we hear a lot, especially in this day and age. So there's a lot of financial pressure out there. We all know groceries cost more. Mortgage rates are extremely high. Maybe you just struggle to pay the rent. We hear, I will never have enough money. And it happens so often. And it even happens with business and leadership clients feeling that they don't have enough money to do something perhaps for the business. Yeah. Maybe people believe they don't have enough money to, get that gym membership. Well, we want to take the never out of that sentence, because when you tell your brain you're never going to have enough money, your brain's not going to be creative going forward. It's not going to find ways to find you money. So we want to take the never out of there. And we want to add the word yet to it. So I don't have enough money yet. So when we say that, all of a sudden our mind is open to the future is always possible. the
Yeah.
future will have money in it. So it's a much more growth or open mindset base. So if you don't have enough money yet, then we could work towards what Barb spoke to, right? With the goals and how can we get to that buying a house in 5 years? So, my example I like to share is many, many moons ago, I had that belief of I never have enough money. And what my coach told me was the same thing. Take the word never out of there. Do something very small that you don't really notice at first, right? So I was doing $5 a week into a savings account. So I got paid. I didn't see that $5. I had them put it into the savings account and I didn't miss it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually I was doing $50 a week because incrementally you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
But there's always a way if you take the never out of it and open your mind to creativity, right? Being
Hmm.
obviously legal and safe and everything.
Of course. But
Yes.
I really like how you said the increments, especially when it comes to money, when
Mm-hmm.
people are saving for something and like, oh my God, I'll never have $500 for that, whatever you want to buy. But when you look at it and go, okay, if I just put, you know, $5 a week away, how quickly is that $500 coming to you? It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty quick, but $5 a week in the grand scheme of things isn't actually that much money. That's 2 cups of coffee in this day and age, especially here
Yeah.
in Canada anyway. That's 2 cups of coffee. So can you give up 2 cups of coffee a week in order to, save for that thing that you want to do, that trip you want to go on, that overnight stay somewhere, or, that big Christmas do you want to have with your family and
Mm-hmm.
you want to host the whole thing? That's definitely a way to save money. I love that idea. And you can realize, oh, $5 isn't very much. Maybe I can do 750 starting next year
Exactly.
or 10.
Yes.
So I love that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's exactly what
Yeah.
I did up to the 50. It took me about 6 months. And then I realized, more than that may not work. But I got
Yeah.
to that threshold. I learned what it was and I saved. And it
Yeah,
worked
and
out great.
some people, we don't want to say that 6 months is going to be that number. Some people it could
No.
take a
Yeah.
year or more. It is whatever works best for you.
You have to be comfortable for sure.
Yeah. So there's the third one we hear a lot, which is I do not deserve that promotion, or I do not deserve to be happy, or I do not deserve to have that special trip. Um, Everyone deserves things that they want. And a lot of
Hmm.
times when you hear I do not deserve, it's of course it's putting that limiting belief, but it usually also comes from someone else putting that perception on them. So you have to turn it back
Yes.
to yourself for one. Turn it
Yes.
back to you, and can you make that happen? So when you look at a promotion, for example, in your head, you're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm missing one of the 10 qualifications. I'm not even going to apply. But what's the harm in applying? What's going to happen? If you already have a job and this is a promotion, you're going to be told, no, you still have a job, right? So
Hmm.
what are you actually losing? You're not actually really losing a lot, but you also deserve that promotion. So apply for it anyway. And if you
Hmm.
don't get it, walk in your boss's office and say, can we have a chat about, what I can do to improve so that I can get
Hmm.
that promotion next time? If you take that do not part out and put I do, you're going to do more things in the positive to find out what you need to do to accomplish those goals. So, it's for anything really, right?
Hmm.
Tara doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
have to
absolutely.
be a promotion. It can be the same thing with happiness. You do
Hmm.
deserve to be happy. What can you do to make yourself happier and take the
Yes.
the not out of that sentence?
Yeah, and I think you hit that one too. It's about us, right? We have to take
Yeah.
responsibility of changing that mindset. So we do deserve that promotion, and maybe we don't get it. And just like you said, learn from that. What can I do
Yeah.
to get it next time? And in the meantime, those people now know you want a promotion. If you don't
Yeah.
tell them you want that because you don't feel you deserve it, they're never going to give you one. Right?
That's true
In
too.
most cases. I wouldn't say all cases, of course, right? But yeah, absolutely. I think that makes, yeah, we have to change our mindsets around these things.
Yeah.
And yet, no, it's not always easy for people. Barb and I both have clients. This is not the easiest thing for them to do, and it takes time. But
Yeah.
doing these tiny little mindset shifts can go from a very closed, fixed, limiting belief mindset to a more open and growth one, right?
Yeah. And I think especially when it's sometimes my husband says I can't or my wife says I can't. You hear that a lot. And
Yeah.
that's where we talk about changing the limiting belief from what others think of you to what you think you can do. And I think that that's another big one that we
Hmm.
certainly have to put into some of this as well.
Yeah, we have to take care of ourselves and
Yeah.
believe in ourselves. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when it does come to our limiting beliefs, we first do have to recognize that what we're telling ourselves is not necessarily true. You know,
Mhm.
we cannot predict the future. So saying something like, I'm not good enough to achieve my goal, or I'll never have enough money, actually then tells our mind that we aren't going to be able to do it. I believe that it's very important to change these sentences just to allow that mind to be open to possibilities rather than closed off. We are
Mhm.
here to tell you, Barb and I want you to achieve your dreams. We want you to be happy. So
Yeah.
we want to give you examples of things that you could say instead of the three that we talked about today. So here's what we suggest to our clients. For the first one, something like, I'm not good enough for achieving my goal, or fill in the blank if it's something else. This one's really simple. I am good enough to achieve my goal.
Yeah.
And then work with your coach or someone else to build that goal with those small steps that you Barb, you talked about.
Mhm.
The second one, I will never have enough money. We want you to change that statement to say, I don't have enough money yet. And again, yet can be used with a lot of these types of statements. It doesn't have to be about money, right? I
Mhm.
don't,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't have that house yet, right? Yet again is that key word that allows our mind to be open that the future isn't here and it can be what we want to make it. And I think lastly, the I do not deserve that promotion to be happy, or again, fill in the blank. You do deserve those things. And it is possible. Again, you can use goal setting or other things to help you with that. So we feel it's really, really important to take those limiting beliefs and work through them so that you can achieve your goals. You can have enough money. You can get that promotion. You can be happy. It's something that can happen. Again, not everybody does it happen for them right away, which is, why we help our clients out. But just changing these small statements could be what you need in order to move forward. What do you think, Barb?
Oh, I agree. One tiny little word like the word can, or sorry, not. So I
Mm-hmm.
cannot versus I can, or, I do not versus I do. I mean, those words, you can feel those pretty hard when somebody
Yeah.
has, limited beliefs. And
Yeah,
if you just
absolutely.
change that word, you can just change your growth mindset grows hugely just by removing a little tiny word or adding the word yet to the end of
Mm-hmm.
something. Makes a huge difference in how you perceive what you want and how to go about getting it. It just opens up your mind to possibilities.
Possibility. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly true.
Oh, this was such a good chat today, Tara.
Yes.
This is a good topic. Everybody needs to hear it. We certainly support a lot of people with these things,
Oh, yes.
and limiting beliefs is something that the majority of people struggle with at some point, even if it's once or twice in their life or if it's every day. But we've
Hmm.
all been there, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We really hope you took away some great key points about limiting beliefs. Can help you with knowing the future is what we decide to make it and not what about the word no or not means. Need help? Reach out to us at www.twinlifecoaching.ca or email us at info@twinlifecoaching.ca. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can find us as Twin Life Coaching and Business Services on those different social media platforms. If you're looking for a welcoming group who cares about wellness and self-care, make sure you check out our most recent group on Facebook called Amplifying Your Wellness with TLC. Until next time, remember, you've got this.